prediction?
I hate to do it. I just say that I've watched this great quarterback who has, by the way, a phenomenal wife, okay? She's a Trump fan. She's a MAGA fan, so I happen to love her, okay? But she's a great person. I watched her being interviewed. I said, well, that's pretty good. But she's great, and he's great. I guess you have to say that when a quarterback wins as much as he's won, I have to go with Kansas City. I have to go with Kansas City. At the same time, Philadelphia has a fantastic game. It's going to be just a great game.
Senator, do talk a little bit about USAID and how it works. It's a subsidy program. The taxpayer dollar.
There's a reason Donald Trump will never travel outside his little cuddly bubble of easy interviews and softball questions. The reason he only will talk with people at Fox or Newsmax or right-wing content creators. And it's because he knows if he is ever pressed on a real question, he will just implode. Even when he's asked the easy question, still he finds a way to mess it up. And that is exactly what happened today with his interview with Bret Baier. Asked him about Bing costs, asked him about Elon Musk corruption questions that Donald Trump does not have answers for, and he stunned Bret Baier with how ridiculous he sounded. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's get into this first crazy clip.
All goes to plan. When do you think families will be able to feel prices going down? Groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich... Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
So you probably won't be surprised to hear this, or be surprised to hear what you did from Donald Trump, but the interview only gets worse from there, because Bret Baier continues to ask Donald Trump regular questions about issues people care about, and he can't answer those. As we saw right there, asked about if prices will go down, Trump just launches into this whole spiel about how angry he is with Canada and Mexico, reliable trading partners who do in fact help keep our prices down, because there's competition in the marketplace, which allows prices to be brought down. But of course, Donald Trump doesn't understand any of this. He doesn't care. He just wants to whine and complain and fearmonger and attack, which is what he continued to do in this clip right here.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state, because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
Whenever I hear from Justin Trudeau, I think about how he sounds more like what an American president should be than Donald Trump ever has in the entirety of his life. When Trudeau was talking about retaliatory tariffs on the United States, he said bluntly, we don't want to be doing this, and we are sorry for the people whose lives it will affect. But Donald Trump has brought us into this trade war, and that sounded way more presidential and way more supportive of America than even Donald Trump does as the actual president. And this Canada 51st state thing is just so ridiculous, as it's clear Trump just wants some legacy marker and some territorial expansion. It doesn't actually have any plan for how that would happen, what the cost would be. Are they keeping their universal health? Trump doesn't care. He's just making a big fuss, trying to distract, because he doesn't have anything that he can point to as a success. Just take a look. And what he said right here.
All the swing states, have you thought about how to try to bring the country together, to reach out or to find common ground? Have you thought about that, or how that might go?
I'd love to do it, but I would say this. We have to come together. But to come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success. Success will bring the country together, but it's hard. And I say it's hard. I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous.
So when Trump is asked about how he's bringing the country together, his response is, well, look at the transphobic bill I just passed to attack 11 NCAA athletes and trans kids in middle school and high school who just want to play sports with their friends and just want to hang out with the people they enjoy spending time with after school and learn some really valuable life lessons and get coached by, adults who really care about serving their community. They just want to hang out with their friends. That's who Donald Trump is attacking. That's what he has his sights set on. Those are his goals for unity. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it only got more ridiculous from there, as every Donald Trump interview does take a listen to what he had to say about the real president, Elon Musk.
Me to find it, and I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
You could see that Trump was both a little shocked and also a little offended when Brett Baier asked a question on all of our minds. Do you trust Elon Musk? The answer should be no. But I think that, and I would love more reporting on this, but my guess is Elon and Trump are having pretty infrequent conversations because Donald Trump wants to keep his liability out of it. He doesn't want to be blamed for it. And Elon knows that the less he talks to Trump, the more that he can just do on his own and act in whatever criminal and corrupt ways he can and kind of build more of his own power. So I don't think that there is a lot of conversation happening there, and that's why Trump is kind of trying to avoid the question because he doesn't know. Because once again, he doesn't care. Elon is doing the job that he wants, which is messaging that they're trimming the fat when that's a lie, that they're saving you money when that's a lie. What El's really doing is intimidating government workers to get them to leave because Donald Trump just can't fire them en masse. And that allows Donald Trump to install his own goons under this guise that they're saving you money, when in fact they're going to cost you a ton of your own tax dollars when they give Elon the biggest tax cut in history. That's what's going on here. So no, we don't trust Elon Musk. Of course he's a criminal. And Chris Murphy perfectly summed that up in this clip right here.
Yeah, listen, I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes. The president wants to be able to decide how and where money is spent so that he can reward his political friends, he can punish his political enemies. That is the evisceration of democracy. You stand that next to the wholesale endorsement of political violence with the pardons given to every single January 6th rioter, including the most violent who beat police officers over the head with baseball bats. And you can see what he's trying to do here. He is trying to crush his opposition by making them afraid of losing federal funding, by making them afraid of physical violence. And so, yes, this is a red alert moment when this entire country has to understand that our democracy is at risk. And for what? The billionaire takeover of government. I'm sure we'll talk about this, but Elon Musk is inside our federal agencies.
But let me just say right now, they want to cut the federal budget. They would all disagree that it's corruption or anything else. They want to cut the federal budget and the workforce. Do you have issues with that?
Well, I don't, but there is no evidence that that is the goal. Ultimately, at USAID, they sent a whole bunch of people home who are still getting paid. And I think you have to ask, why are they doing this if it's not actually accruing any savings? And to me, again, the reason is that somebody like Elon Musk stands to gain from the closure of USAID. It makes America much less safe around the world, but it helps China. USAID is a thorn in the side of the Chinese government. Elon Musk has many major business interests at stake inside Beijing. And so making Beijing happy is going to accrue to the financial benefit of Elon Musk and many billionaires who outsource work to China.
Senator, you have the court process working. A judge has now barred Elon Musk teams from the Treasury database. They have blocked Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. So why not just let the system work?
Well, I mean, first of all, we're not sure it's working right now. I continue to get reports from Connecticut that agencies there, like Head Start programs and community health centers, are actually not receiving the funding that they are due. So I think there's a big question as to whether the administration actually is implementing the court order, and the pace of this assault on the Constitution in order to serve the billionaire class. It is absolutely dizzying. And so you have to run a full-scale opposition. You can't just rely on the courts. Ultimately, you've got to bring the American public into this conversation, because we need our Republican colleagues in the House and in the Senate ultimately to put a stop to this. You cannot just rely on the court system when the challenge to the Constitution and the billionaire takeover is so acute and so urgent.
You talk about the American public. According to a recent Reuters Ipsos poll, a majority of Americans, 56%, support freezing U.S. foreign aid programs, excluding the life-saving assistance. So what would you say to those people when Donald Trump and Elon Musk say, what we are trying to do is exactly what you want?
But they're not freezing programs. They are eliminating the entire department. Their plan is to go from 14,000 employees down to 300.
And fold it into the State Department?
Well, no, they're talking about eliminating it. I mean, that's just a talking point, folding it into the State Department. They were lying when they said that. They are eliminating the department altogether. When you go from 14,000 employees to 300, you have no soft power left in the world. The military tells us that if you eliminate foreign aid, you will have to double the number of bullets you buy them. Why? Because we prevent conflict around the world through things like economic development and conflict resolution. I think the American public are learning about the scale of this corruption, how our foreign policy is being turned over to billionaires like Elon Musk to help them financially. And as the American people are learning how much influence the billionaires have and how corrupt our policy has become, they are turning against this handover of government to the very few economic elites.
Senator, do talk a little bit about USAID and how it works. It's a subsidy program. The taxpayer dollars pay farmers for soy or rice, and then those are donated, correct? How much of it is a subsidy?
Well, listen, most of what USAID is doing is employing Americans and often foreign nationals to try to prevent instability and conflict. They are also working to try to reduce the reasons why young people join terrorist groups overseas. They are chasing Chinese and Russian influence. I mean, listen, the major question of the next 50 years is who will control the piping of the international economy, the United States or China? It's USAID, not the U.S. military, that is working to try to blunt Chinese influence. So it's ultimately American and European rules that control the global economy, not Chinese rules. So USAID is out there protecting American jobs and American interests. And if you roll up USAID, it is just a massive gift to China in particular. And that is very bad for U.S. national security interests, very bad for the U.S. economy and U.S. workers.
This is a constitutional crisis. This is a criminal crisis. This is just a crisis. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't need a name. All it needs is let's stop this. Elon is a corrupt criminal. Elon is acting in unconstitutional ways. Let's stop them. Let's fight back. Let's talk about it all the time. That is what we're going to be doing on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.